She was crying when she was shooting her free throws. This happened about a month and a half ago. Now, I know some of y'all might already know who I'm talking about. She was instrumental in the Fever making it throughout the postseason. Well, making it close to get to the postseason, I'll say that. That is Ari McDonald, bruh. Annie Constable just put out moments ago that Ari McDonald is out for the season.
That's the moment Indiana Fever fans have been dreading. Ari McDonald, the backup point guard who became essential during Caitlin Clark's injury struggles last season, is done for. We're talking about a broken bone in her right foot suffered during unrivaled play, and according to Courtney Williams' announcement just hours ago, she won't be taking the court when the WNBA season tips off. This isn't a minor setback. This is the Fever losing their primary insurance policy at the most critical position on the roster.
This is a devastating blow to the Indiana Fever. It says per Unrivaled PR, Ari McDonald ruled out the remainder of the season due to a right lower extremity injury. In August, McDonald was ruled out the remainder of the 2025 WNBA season after suffering a broken bone in her right foot. So it looked like to me, based on the information that has come out, Ari McDonald will not be playing the 2026 WNBA season.
Here's what makes this devastating. McDonald wasn't just depth on the roster. When Clark went down last season, the Fever's offense completely stalled until they brought in McDonald. She averaged double-digit scoring in critical stretches and provided something the other backup guards couldn't deliver: the ability to create her own shot. The difference between McDonald and someone like the guard they had initially, who later went to Las Vegas, was night and day. One could run an offense. The other couldn't generate points when the defense locked in. Now the Fever are staring at a massive hole in their depth chart, with training camp months away.
To me, this is a major blow. She was pretty much an instrumental piece in Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever success when Caitlin had went down. She is the first player, of my knowledge, that will not be playing for the 2026 season. And
this is where the unrivaled conversation gets complicated. McDonald was participating in the off-season league, hosting a podcast for them, staying active during what's supposed to be recovery time. Then comes a broken bone in her right foot that ends her season before it starts. The injury happened in August according to the official release, which means she's been sidelined for months already. But here's the question nobody wants to ask out loud. Would this have happened if he'd been resting instead of playing competitive basketball year-round?
For the Indiana Fever basketball team, I don't believe they have released any information in regards to Ari McDonald being hurt. I don't think anybody reacted to it. This is brand new news. It just came out. This is just a crazy, crazy scenario, and I just really hate this for Ari McDonald. Let's keep her lifted up with good energy, good prayers, because it is going to be a road to recovery for her as we get ready to potentially.
Look at the timing. The Fever haven't even released an official statement yet. Check their social media. The last post was about Leo Boston averaging a double-double after 10 games in the Development League. Nothing about losing a key rotation player for an entire season. That silence is telling. Either they're still processing how to handle this publicly, or there are conversations happening behind closed doors about how this injury occurred and what it means for their approach to off-season play. Because this isn't just about one player anymore. This is about whether the financial pressure forcing WNBA players into year-round competition is sustainable.
Here we go. Nope. So they haven't said anything yet. I'm on the Indiana Fever X account. They haven't said nothing about Ari McDonald. Last post was an hour ago. Said Leo Boston heating up with Team Phantom after 10 games. She's averaging a double-double and leading the league with 1.8 BPG. And yeah, man. Now Ari McDonald is doing a podcast for Unrivaled. I don't know, guys. This is just a very, 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 very bad.
And while McDonald deals with recovery, the CBA negotiations continue to stall over the exact issues that created this situation. The players want 30% of gross revenue. The league's latest proposal includes revenue sharing that would put the Supermax at $1.3 million in 2026, climbing to $2 million by compare that to the current Supermax of just $250,000. And you can see why players feel desperate enough to play overseas, play in Unrivaled, play anywhere that pays them what they believe they're worth. But here's the brutal math the league presented. The player's proposal would create a $700 million loss over the life of the agreement.
I think this is going to come back to haunt them. Now they got to already get a backup point guard for Caitlin Clark for the 2026 season. I don't know who that could be. I know they had Shea Petty. There she go right there. Shea Petty, Odyssey Sims, Ariel Powers. Both of them was backups. Ariel Powers came whenever Ari McDonald went down. Just like I stated, this is just a devastating blow.
So now the Fever have a decision to make, and they need to make it fast. Shea Petty is still available. Odyssey Sims has experience. Ariel Powers filled in when McDonald went down during that brief stint last season. But none of them are McDonald. None of them give you that scoring punch off the bench, that ability to run the offense when Clark needs a breather, or, heaven forbid, misses time again due to injury. And if the Fever learned anything last season, it's that having a competent backup point guard isn't optional. It's the difference between making the playoffs and watching from home.
Revenue multiple sources told ESPN that the league projected the union's plan would result in $700 million loss over the course of the agreement, and that would jeopardize the league financial health. So I'm guessing, right, they want this money, but the money could hurt the league long term if they try to get this 30% revenue share that they're trying to get.
The league's latest CBA offer does include some movement. Housing is now on the table. Average player salaries, including revenue sharing, would hit $540,000 by 2026 according to their projections. That's substantial growth from where things stand now, but it's still built on a revenue sharing model that the league defines as less than 15% of gross revenue, while the players are demanding 30%. That's not a gap you bridge with a few concessions on housing and facilities. That's a fundamental disagreement about how to define success and sustainability in a league that's finally seeing real growth.
Pretty unfortunate. She the first one to go down. Hopefully in, a crazy world, she could recover, come back maybe July. But as it's being reported, according to Annie Constable, she is out, bro. She is out, and this is going to, I feel like this is going to hurt the Fever. And if they don't get somebody to fill in for Ari McDonald, get that solid backup, somebody that come in and get buckets. See, the thing I liked about Ari McDonald is she can go out there and she can get her own buckets, bro. She was getting points because when Caitlin Clark first went down, they was lost at the point guard position. I forget her name. God, please forgive me, guys. She came from Las Vegas Aces. I just forget her name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But she could not go out and get her own buckets. Now, for whatever reason, they got Ari McDonald. She was getting buckets. And it is what it is, man. Get down in the comment section. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. Make sure you guys keep them bells on. I will be back with another video. And let me know how y'all like the short formatted videos. I like them, bro. It's quick, fast, right to the point. And definitely let me know. I'm currently out of the studio. Should be back in the studio at some point today. My son's still playing this tournament. Till next time.
Here's what nobody's saying clearly enough. The Fever are now in a position where they have to scramble to replace a player who was instrumental in their late season push. McDonald wasn't a star, but she was exactly what you need in a backup. Reliable, capable of carrying the offense for stretches, and experienced enough to handle pressure situations. Finding that in free agency or through a trade with limited time and resources isn't simple, and this is the first domino. She's the first player confirmed out for 2026 due to injury, but with players scattered across international leagues, playing in unrivaled, participating in training camps and exhibitions. How many more injuries are coming? How many more teams are going to lose key rotation players before the season even starts? Because the financial structure of the league forces players to choose between rest and paying their bills. The Fever got unlucky. McDonald broke a bone in her foot. That happens in basketball, but the context matters. She was playing because the WNBA doesn't pay enough for players outside the top tier to take summers off. She was staying active because that's what you have to do to remain relevant and keep earning. And now the Fever pay the price with a hole in their roster they may not be able to fill adequately. Look at the options. Petty, Sims, Powers. All capable players. All veterans who've been in big moments. But none of them replicate what McDonald brought. She could score 15 points off the bench without Clark having to set her up constantly. She could handle the ball against pressure defenses. She could play 25 minutes and not have the offense crater when Clark sat down. That's not easy to replace, especially when you're trying to build on a season where you finally made noise in the playoff race. The Fever's window with Clark is now. She's on a rookie contract, she's healthy, and the roster around her is finally starting to make sense. Losing McDonald for an entire season because of an injury suffered in August during off-season play is the kind of setback that can derail momentum completely. And if the CBA negotiations don't resolve soon, if players in the league can't find common ground on revenue sharing and compensation, we're going to see more of this. More injuries from overuse, more players forced to choose between financial security and physical health, more teams losing key contributors before meaningful games are even played. The Fever need to move quickly. They need to identify who can fill McDonald's role, whether that's through free agency, a trade, or promoting someone from their development system. They need to do it before other teams start making moves and the available talent pool shrinks. And they need to hope that whoever they bring in can provide even 70% of what McDonald gave them last season. Because if Clark goes down again, if she needs rest during a playoff push, if the Fever needs someone to carry the offense for 10 minutes while she catches her breath, they just lost their best option. And in a league where the margin between playoff team and lottery team is razor thin, that might be the difference between building on last season's success and taking a step backward. So keep Ari McDonald in your thoughts. Broken bones heal, but the recovery timeline for a foot injury is significant. She'll miss the entire 2026 season. She'll spend months rehabbing, working to get back to game shape, hoping the injury doesn't rob her of the explosiveness and quickness that made her valuable. And the Fever will move forward without her, scrambling to fill a gap they didn't expect to have and hoping they can find someone who can do even half of what she did when it mattered most. That's the reality of the WNBA right now. Players playing year-round because they have, teams losing contributors to injuries that might have been prevented with proper rest, and a league trying to grow while the financial structure underneath it forces impossible choices on everyone involved. The Fever just became the first team to pay the price for. The question is whether they'll be the last.